Hello, welcome to the Gracie Gatto podcast. I'm Gracie Gatto. The morning after the worst night of your life. You're a woman, you went to a party, you passed out, and you didn't just fall asleep. Someone made sure of that. And while you were unconscious, a coworker assaulted you in the bathroom. You go to the ER. You ask the doctor to test you for date rape drugs. He says no, says he doesn't have access to those tests. And then he tests you for cocaine and methamphetamines. You came in as a victim. You left feeling like a suspect. That woman is a New Hampshire state representative, Ellen Reed. She's from Newmarket. She's a Democrat. And for 3 years, she has been trying to pass a bill that says hospitals and cops have to tell sexual assault survivors what they're legally allowed to ask for. Now, this isn't a radical idea. It's not going to overhaul the system. Not mandate new protocols, just tell them their rights exist. And it nearly didn't happen. Not because of conservatives, not because of law and order types, because of the people who were supposed to be on her side. And by the end of this episode, and I do mean the very end, you're going to hear what happened the night of my birthday dinner before the Senate hearing. It's insane. It's insane. Welcome to the Gracie Gatto podcast. New Hampshire's politics for those of us who were teenagers when Anita Hill testified and somehow still have to fight those same damn fights 30 years later. Let's get into it. Who is Ellen Reed? Ellen Reed is not a career politician in the traditional mold. Born in Memphis, got her undergrad at Vanderbilt, came north, got a master's from UNH in 2011. She worked as a grassroots organizer, like real field work, door knocking, community organizing, and taught American government as an adjunct professor at Great Bay Community College. She got elected to the New Hampshire House in 2016, Rockingham District, and she has not been a quiet backbencher since. She's founded the New Hampshire Progressive Caucus. She's considered the AOC of New Hampshire. She's pushed ranked choice voting multiple times, tenant protections, election reform, housing policy. She even left the Democratic Party in 2021, just walked out because she said there was corruption in the party leadership she could not stomach. Sat as an independent, then came back to the Democrats in 2022 and won re-election twice. Gen X recognizes a certain type. People who work the system from inside and outside, depending on what the moment requires. It's not ideological performance art like some other candidates, just doing the work. And that work has consumed her for the past 3 years. It's a personal journey. House Bill 1633, the 2026 session. New Hampshire official title, and I quote, expanding the information provided to survivors of sexual assault regarding their existing rights. Here's what it actually does, and I want to be precise because the people opposing it have not been. 1. It requires healthcare professionals, law enforcement, and first responders to inform sexual assault survivors that they have the legal right to obtain medical evidence, rape kits, blood tests, drug screenings, not mandate that those things happen automatically. Just tell people it exists. 2, it clarifies that the legal definition of sexual assault includes non-penetrative assaults and the administration of date rape drugs as part of an assault or attempted assault. Now, this isn't radical, this is not sweeping. This is the kind of thing that once you hear it, it makes you ask why, it's a no-brainer. Like, why wasn't this already a law? When Ellen Reed went to that ER that morning after her assault, she didn't know what she could ask for. The doctor didn't tell her. He just didn't. Maybe he didn't know. Maybe he didn't even care. Either way, the result was the same. She was alone. She was left without evidence, without documentation, without support, without anything. HB 1633 exists so that never happens to anyone ever again. The opposition you never expect. Here's where it gets complicated and honestly infuriating. For 3 years, Ellen Reed has been trying to pass versions of this legislation, and the organized, sustained opposition did not come from conservative hardliners or law enforcement lobbies. It came from, you guessed it, the coalition, the New Hampshire Coalition Against Domestic and Sexual Violence, the NHCADSV. Now, the Coalition Against Domestic and Sexual Violence opposed a bill to tell sexual assault survivors their rights. Now, sit with that. The coalition's public position was that the bill had been drafted without adequate input from medical professionals, law enforcement, and prosecutors, and that, as written, it could create serious unintended consequences that could have harmed survivors rather than protected them. Legislative drafting matters. Unintended consequences are real. I'm not going to pretend otherwise. But here's what's also true. For 3 years, Reed's own Democratic colleagues blocked this bill while Republicans crossed the aisle to support it. The politics were completely scrambled, and the entire time, survivors were walking into ER without knowing what they were entitled to ask for. Reed said publicly that the coalition wasn't just raising quiet concerns through proper channels. It was actively working to kill bills it should have been championing. Bills with bipartisan support, bills backed by survivors themselves. Her quote, and I wrote this one down, why are we paying an organization to do the exact opposite of the thing we're paying them to do? So we've been asking it about institutions our whole lives, and in this case, the financial answer is worth examining very closely. Something stinks. Now, let's follow the money for a minute. Let's talk about the NHCADSV's finances, because this is public information, or at least as public as they've allowed it to be. So according to the most recent IRS 990 filings, the New Hampshire Coalition Against Domestic and Sexual Violence has total assets of $4.6 million and distributed over $10.5 million, primarily passing grant money through to their 12 crisis centers across the state. The organization receives approximately 98% of its funding from state and federal taxpayer dollars, 98% public money. And until Ellen Reed starts pushing, there was essentially zero public accountability for how that money was being managed. No public reporting requirements, no transparency, nada. Nothing. Executive Director Lynn Shillette's salary was reported at approximately $104,920 in 2023 IRS filings, where while the organization administered nearly $9.5 million government grants in the same period. Now, I want to be fair, that salary is not outrageous on its face for a nonprofit executive director running a statewide operation. I mean, that's about right. Look at LinkedIn and whatnot. But here's the question nobody has been able to answer because the NHCADSV has refused to open its books. How much of that nearly $9.5 million in government grant money is actually reaching survivors directly? How much is going to administration, lobbying, and overhead? What are the terms of those grants? Are they being met? We don't know. Hell if I know. Do you know? I don't know. The public doesn't know. You know as much as I do. The legislator didn't know till now because the NHCADSV is a private nonprofit. And private nonprofits have not been subject to New Hampshire's right to know laws, RSA 91A, even though, again, 98% of public funding. Yeah. Ellen Reed has argued, and the New Hampshire Supreme Court has repeatedly agreed to, in similar cases, that private nonprofits receiving public funds fall under 91A. That's what's good enough for the state hospitals. It should be good enough for the coalition. The coalition calls that an existential threat. And that tells you something when transparency is an existential threat. That's not an organization worried about survivor confidentiality. That's an organization worried about what transparency would reveal. Someone. Rep. Eileen Kelly, Democrat, Merrimack, District 8, assumed office December 2024. Before she was a state rep, Eileen Kelly had a distinguished resume in New Hampshire public service, chief of staff to the New Hampshire Speaker of the House. Nearly 2 decades as a senior legislative policy assistant. She's also been involved in civic and nonprofit organizations, including, and here it is, the board of directors of the New Hampshire Coalition Against Domestic and Sexual Violence. You can't make this up. You cannot make this up. So Rep. Eileen Kelly sat on the board of the NHCADSV before she was elected to the New Hampshire House of Representatives. And Rep. Eileen Kelly opposed House Bill 1633. Now, I want to be precise here. I'm not saying Rep. Kelly broke any rules or, whatever. New Hampshire's ethics rules are famously thin, but that's a whole other episode entirely. What I am saying is this. When a legislator who previously served on the board of an organization votes against a bill that organization has lobbied to kill, that's a conflict of interest that deserves public scrutiny, full stop. Oh my God! Your constituents deserve to know your prior institutional affiliations when you vote, especially when those affiliations connect you to an organization receiving millions of dollars in public money that is currently fighting transparency requirements. That's a big ass red flag. Now that's not a smear campaign, it's civics. And here's what makes it land like a ton of granite, okay? The vote on HB 1633 was 340 to 1. 340 to 1 in a 400-member chamber. Rep. Kelly was the single dissenting vote against a bill to tell sexual assault survivors their rights was cast by a former board member of that organization that spent years trying to kill it. Now, you can draw your own conclusions. I've already drawn mine. The turning point. February 6, 2026, House Criminal Justice and Public Safety Committee Rep. Linda Harriet Gathright, Democrat, Nashua, had been in the opposition column. That day, she moved for reconsideration. She told colleagues she had been missing information, she'd gotten it, and she was now fully supportive of the bill. Brief statement, big reversal. The committee voted unanimous. Ought to pass. Then March 26, 2026, the full House votes 340 in favor, 1 against. 340 to 1. In New Hampshire, in a chamber where everybody's so divided, where people fight about damn near everything, where Granite isn't just a state nickname, it's a personality type, let me tell you. And to get 340 to 1, where it stands, as of today, April 6, 2026, HB 1633 is in the New Hampshire Senate. The Judiciary Committee hears it tomorrow, April 7th, room 100, the State House in Concord, 2:10 in the afternoon. The bill passed the House with almost no opposition, but the Senate is its own institution. Different dynamics, different pressures. And if you think the NHCA DSV has stopped lobbying against it, I would encourage you to think again because of what happened the night of my birthday. Now I'm going to fill you in on some gossip. My birthday dinner. So I'm going to tell you what happened the other night because it is the perfect encapsulation of everything that I've been talking about for the past God knows how long. It was my birthday and I had a little dinner party with friends. Ellen Reed was there, and so was Concord City Councilor Stacey Brown. We were together at the table having a normal human evening. And then Rep. Ellen Reed's phone lights up. It's a Facebook post from Jenny Kretovic, Concord City Councilor, known LA of the New Hampshire Coalition Against Domestic Violence, posted publicly 38 minutes prior. I'm going to read it to you exactly as it's written. Quote, "This infuriates me. Representative Ellen Reed parked in a designated handicapped space at CVS on Hall Street without a placard. This is unacceptable. These spaces exist for those who truly need them, not for convenience." As an elected official, you have a responsibility to lead by example. Please do better. Hashtag remember the license plate. Now Jenny Kretovic posted photos with this accusation. One photo, the interior of the car shows hanging from the rearview mirror, clear as day. A New Hampshire disabled parking identification placard. Red, official, state issued with the wheelchair symbol on it, marked temporary. Ellen Reed's husband is disabled. She has a completely legal, state-issued disabled parking placard for their vehicle. It is hanging right there in the photo, Jenny Kretovic. As her, this gets so stupid. And Ellen Reed wasn't even at the CVS anymore. She was sitting at my birthday dinner with Stacey Brown, at myself, at a booth, the same city councilor who chimed in on the post. When I saw that post, I said what needed to be said. I told her to knock this shit off. Because this is what the playbook looks like, what it does. This is what it looks like when you're a legislator fighting a well-funded, well-connected organization with political allies embedded across city government. They don't just fight you in the committee. They don't just lobby against your bills. They come after you personally. They post accusations on Facebook the night before your Senate hearing or whatever the hell they do. It's ultimate Karens. They use photos that disprove their own claims. They count on people not looking closely enough to notice the placard hanging right there in plain sight like a booger. This is not a parking dispute. This is a coordinated attempt to discredit a survivor/legislator on the eve of the most important vote of her 3-year fight. And it failed because the evidence was in the photo. And because she was at my birthday dinner. Happy birthday to me, I guess. About the bigger picture. Here's what I keep coming back to. We build institutions to serve the vulnerable. We fund them with public money. We give them credibility, access, and political relationships. And over time, sometimes slowly, sometimes fast, those institutions start serving themselves first and the mission second. The survivors become the reason for the budget, not the reason for the work. When a nonprofit that exists to help sexual assault survivors fights a bill telling those survivors their rights for 3 years, that is an institution that's lost its way. When a former board member of that nonprofit casts the lone vote against that bill in a 400 member chamber, that is accountability failing in real time. When a city councilor with ties to that same organization posts a false public accusation against the legislator fighting them right before the hearing, using photos that disprove her own claim. Oh my God. That's desperation, and that's what it looks like when you know you're losing. And when a survivor/legislator spends 3 years fighting her own party, the coalition that was supposed to back her, and an entire institutional apparatus built to protect itself, and then watches the House vote 340-1 in her favor, that's what accountability eventually looks like. Now, we're Gen X. We've watched institutions fail us our whole lives. We grew up being told the systems would catch people when they fell. And we watched them not do that over and over and over again. The difference is some of us decided to go fix them from the inside. Ellen Reed is one of those people, and the people trying to stop her just proved exactly why she's correct. The New Hampshire Senate Judiciary Committee hears HB 1633 tomorrow, April 7th, 2026, Room 100, State House, Concord, 2:10 p.m. If you want to show up, show up. If you want to submit written testimony, go to gencourt.state.nh.us. I will have a follow-up episode after the hearing. I promise you, I'm not going to let this story go. I'm Gracie Gatto. This is the Gracie Gatto Podcast. New Hampshire politics for the rest of us who don't belong to the Democratic Party or the Republican Party or blah, 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 blah.